All right. So this video is so powerful. I'm really excited to share this invisible brick wall that's keeping you stuck and procrastinating. So I've been thinking about this a lot. So if you're, a videographer, there's a lot of stories that are dedicated to videographers because for those of you who don't know me, my background, I've owned ultimately a video production company since the early 2000s, around 2004 in high school, officially started in 2006. And since then, I've got to do 300 plus weddings, specializing in the same day edit. I've done all sorts of things in the realm of video production. I've gotten to travel the world and I've gotten to work with incredible people. Tony Robbins, Richard Branson, Lewis Howes. I've been to Richard Branson's island 4 times. Got to do this incredible video. I'll kind of talk why I've got this here playing. This is one of the videos that I'm the most proud of that we almost ever made. It was a video for Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny event. Just an absolutely incredible experience. And so this concept with the shirt that I have on, MIA, is how I've looked at my life and all the success that I've had, imperfect action. And I've gotten to now experience, which I hadn't for the longest time, connecting with a person who doesn't take action, who feels like really stuck and procrastinating and isn't moving forward. And again, there's like this invisible brick wall. And I couldn't really fully relate to people who didn't take action because really from the early 2000s till basically late September of 2021, no matter what happened in my life, my buddy calls me the guy who can jump out of the plane, build my wings on the way down. Well, there's times I've built the wings and I'm soaring, but there's been many times where I didn't quite build the wings and I slammed into the ground and then I just got back up, and I feel like at times it was this maybe young whippersnapper energy that just kind of kept me going. I'm a high energy guy. But in 2021, I won't get into those details. Happy to share them with you, but not fully relevant for this right now. But I was done. I was exhausted. Absolutely, positively exhausted from just continuing to have that happen. And then finally, something that I call stove moments, which are these things you touch the stove and you're like, don't do that again. Well, the amount of like being a chronic addicted extremist embodiment of MIA and just constantly taking action and trying things. Some could call me manic at times, just doing that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's like I was touching stoves all the time. Now, not always, because sometimes it didn't hurt. It was great. It was amazing, right? I have so much financial success from MIA and I have so much professional success from MIA, but the same qualities and characteristics that helped me succeed and make the money with MIA, it also had a dark side to it. And so depending on the success you have or have not had, depending on what's happened in your life, depending on the traumas, the deaths, the breakups, the failed attempts at business, the telling your wife that you're going to do it this time, and maybe you're trying, but this time it didn't work, but this time it is, and this time it is. Whatever it is that you've done, depending on how old you are, and the older you are, the more likely, the more stove moments you've had, the more times you've touched the stove, though, and it said, don't do that. Well, these things stack in your brain over and over and over again until potentially, in my case, every path before me felt like a path I've already been down. And my brain ultimately would start to overanalyze and overthink every single move that I was going to make because it either didn't want to waste time. It's like, you've already done that. It doesn't work. And if your brain thinks it's already done something and it's not going to work because it didn't work before, then why is it going to do it again? If you already absolutely, with absolute conviction and certainty, think that the path that you want to go down is not going to work for you, then why even do it? Well, so much of me in MIA and imperfect action is this idea that there is no perfection. It's an illusion. And you need to at least test. You need to tweak. You need to try. You need to toss. You need to experiment, explore. And I had this extreme explorer, experimenter mindset for so long. But I almost went bankrupt in 2016. Like, all these things had happened, but I just kept going. And I joked that recently I've had this like exorcism where I felt like I had this final lesson that I wasn't getting. I had a part of my life that I was going back to and I kept looking back at because I had this peak of income and kind of business and financial success. And I kept trying to draw out, well, what was happening there? What was going on in my life? What was I doing? Because how can I replicate that again? And so I went as far a year or two ago to hold on a second, to get brain scans. Found out, I mean, some people would probably say by high energy, I have ADHD, but it all makes sense now in my life in many ways. But I found that there were things that activate my brain. So they scanned my brain over the course of 2 days, and there was things that activated my brain, and there's things that deactivate my brain. And so I learned all about all this stuff. And in the last few years, I've spent an enormous amount of time learning about trauma and psychology and the brain and personality and different modalities of therapy and the procrastination and PTSD and CPTSD and all the ADHD and this D and that D and all these things. And I, I spent a lot of money learning these things. And then what I realized over the last few years, and really where this exorcism, metaphorically speaking, by the way, took place, where I just felt like, oh my God, I had this release and this clarity that came over me. And where this invisible brick wall for you may be keeping you stuck, because if you've either had a lot of success and now you're like, you've lost the mojo and you don't know what quite to do, or you've tried a lot of things and, you know, people don't trust you anymore. They think, oh yeah, here we go again, another one of those wild-haired ideas. And you're just beat down. When you're in the right place, number one, because I am the ultimate activator and jump starter. But I'm so happy in many ways with the work that I do, that I went through what I went through, because I experienced a lot of life that was me taking a lot of action. And I'm always looking for the blind spots. I'm always looking to connect the dots and see how things intersect, and see, well, if you've bought the courses and the programs and the step-by-steps, and you've listened to the podcasts and you bought the trainings and the 8-week programs and the high-ticket coaching and the $8,000 things and the degrees and certifications, and you think, I don't know why I'm not succeeding. I don't know why I'm not making more money. I don't know why this isn't working. Why am I not taking action? Right? And you're just feeling so frustrated because you feel like you do know what to do, but you just can't get yourself to do it. And the brain ultimately wants to keep you safe. It's why people can be in a horrible situation and know psychologically that doing something else could be better. But to the brain, the unknown, quitting your job, you may believe that quitting your job will create a better opportunity, more freedom, more this, more that, and it would be better for you. You may hate your job, but the job to the brain is predictable, it's safe, it's secure. It knows what's going to happen. It can predict the scenarios. Even if the scenarios aren't great, it's predictable. But quitting the job creates unpredictability, instability. It doesn't know what's going to happen. There's no certainty. It's the unknown. It's going into a dark basement with no flashlight and no light. And so the brain is this complex thing that at times, like, what I realize is the young me, like, had no really trauma or anything that had happened that was making me overanalyze. I had this beginner mindset. It had nothing that I was thinking, well, that won't work and this won't work, because I started when there were still like billboards and yellow pages, you know? There wasn't the volume of information and opinions and all these things out there. And so what I realized recently is that MIA made me a lot of money and got me a lot of professional success. But the characteristics that came with all of that were the characteristics that had me not be good with money, had a dark side. It also made me miserable in my relationships. I was overwhelmed. I was overworked. I was stressed out. I had too many opportunities. Maybe a good problem, but for this young kid that doesn't know what he's doing, it was overwhelming. It stressed me out. And so all of that experience, there was good, but there was also metaphorically bad and really extreme, quote unquote, heat and stove moment that happened. But I kept going. And so after continuing to go and go and go and touch more stoves and more stoves and more stoves and have more and more things happen, ultimately, I got to a place where enough was enough. So in the last few years, I slowed down. I started to, that's why I got brain scans. I started, instead of MIA, it became MOA, massively overthinking all my actions. And I just was very confused. because I thought I really embodied MIA, and it felt like I just, no matter what, couldn't get myself to do certain things. I could sit and learn all day and think all day and analyze all day and strategize all day and brainstorm all day. But when it came to actually recording a video, creating an ad, reaching out to somebody, doing all these things that I really by and large didn't have problems with in the past, those things felt impossible, even though psychologically I knew what to do and I had done it in the past. And so this clarification recently was that my brain is associating MIA with pain. And because in my current reality, my current life, all the negatives of MIA were now positives. Stress-free, little no responsibility, freedom. I was doing things I loved. I had lots of time, control over my schedule, all these things I wanted from entrepreneurship. In many ways, were there. My relationships were better than they've ever been. In many ways, I was happier than I've ever been. And if you gave me all the money in the world and I won the lottery today, yesterday, 5 weeks ago, I wouldn't have changed a lot. I was like extremely happy. But, right? And then there's the but. But professionally speaking, I was doing what I loved, but in regards to growth and progress and making more money, well, that's a whole other conversation, right? But I think a little bit consciously, but definitely super consciously now, the stove moment was I kept associating action with ruining everything I currently have. And if your brain believes, if it's a subconscious level, my brain's wanting to keep me safe and experience the least amount of pain possible, doing what I was doing, albeit not making me as much money, had me feel nice, safe, and cushy and really like wonderful and amazing. Because the association with how I know how to make money well was action and MIA. But MIA, everything that I had that was great was bad with MIA. And so why take MIA? Because what I have is not that bad. Like the money part is like, yeah, I'd like to make more. I'd like to professionally grow a little bit more. But everything else is great. And I had the realization, oh my gosh, I know like intellectually that it doesn't have to be that you're rich and miserable or happy and poor, but you can have both. Now, what that looks like and how much money you'll make and everything else, it's very nuanced. But the integration of the two, it's now taking the best qualities of MIA, right? Dropping the worst, taking the best qualities of MOA, because there were positives in overthinking my actions. There were positives in my life that I had. There were positives, but by not really taking action, the financial part was a lot harder for me because I know that I feel good when I take MIA, when I take action, when I move forward. And interestingly enough, 15 days into this year, I mean, at the recording of this, it's in June, but in January of this year, I got myself to go. Like I really had to juice myself up and I got some progress. I started recording videos again. I did like 30 lives in the first like month and a half of the year from like the 15th to the end of February. And in January, February, and March, I had made more in my coaching business specifically than I had in the entirety of the prior year. And then I'm not blaming my wife in any way, shape, or form. It's just who I am. I'm very, it's how I can have, where's the thing up? It's how I can get 200 people in a 30-day period of time to show up to an event. I get obsessive. I can get very narrow focused. That's the hyper focus with an ADHD person. And I can, do something in 30 days that a lot couldn't do in 3 months or 3 years potentially of trying to promote something. So I decided on January 31st of 2018 to hold this event called Dreamers, Doers, and Entrepreneurs. And 30 days later, 215 people showed up. That's what MIA can do. That's what my focus does. But what had happened is my wife had to have this surgery and I just focused on her. I had the ability and the time, but then I just got hyper focused on her. And I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad I have that ability. And then she got better and she's doing great, by the way. Thank God. But then I got back a little bit in that rut again of the MOA. I got back into that. It took me a little bit to get going. But then recently, this is where I had that epiphany. And it all makes sense. And I see it clearly in my own life. I see it in like the brain scans help me get so much clarity. Everything that I've learned. And now all these dots are connecting and I can see now and I hear in such a different way when I'm talking to my clients, I'm seeing in other people, that they're looking for the tactics and the strategies. But the people I tend to help, they're super talented. They're wicked talented. If you're one of those people that, I mean, it's interesting because if you're one of these people, you won't necessarily know, but I have so many people that I work with who, when you hear them speak, it's like you're expecting to see work that's not good. And then I happen to look at the work and I'm like, this is amazing. And you know, you could say whatever standard, everybody's got different standards. Creativity means so many things to so many different people. But my standards have still had me do pretty well. So I can see things where I'm like, hey, it may work for you, but I mean, I wouldn't hire you, but that's okay. If it's working for you, great. That's all that matters. That's all I ever want is to help you do what works for you. And so not for me, it's about, you know, not one size fits all, but what size fits you. But I'm like, you know, there's things I can see. I'm like, that's dang good. And I'd hire you and I'd be able to charge 10 grand for your work. And that same person, though, may not be getting $1,000. And there's a whole slew of reasons. And some of it's tactical and technical things that they don't know or who to reach out to. But many times it's their belief in themselves. It's the confidence they have in themselves. It's their self-esteem. They have such little self-esteem and self-worth and confidence that ultimately they talk about themselves in such a negative light that you can imagine that if they're talking to people selling themselves, like unless the people are goo goo gaga over you and then be like, I'll pay you 10 grand. You're like, I don't know, $200, $500. And so the ability for people to find these blind spots, what is actually holding you back? You know, I've had people where I've been able to see these patterns in other situations. Like a guy was in this program once I was coaching in, and they had everything on a silver platter. More than likely, at least the people I tend to help the most, they're not necessarily a 20-year-old who's just getting going. There are people in their mid 30s, 40s, 50s who have tried a lot of things, tested a lot of things, bought a lot of things, done a lot of things, and they're just still flabbergasted why things don't seem to be working out for them. And so it's usually not the lack of talent, the people I work with. It's not the lack of information. It's not the lack of initiative in buying information and courses and programs and all those things. There's something going on below the surface. There's a blind spot. And this particular guy in this program, you know, he's asking me how to get clients. I'm like, well, you kind of got, you know, a community, 200 hours of training videos laid out step by step, and 3 or 4 other coaches that answer those. Why are you on my call? Well, I was the mindset. I'm the mindset coach. I'm the mind mechanic, getting people jump started, getting people clear, confident, connected, getting them unstuck, getting them taking action, getting them activated. Like, that's my superpower. And so I know that if he's asking me this question, it's because he's confused as to what's really going on. And the only question he knows how to ask is, I don't know how to do this, right? So many of us are looking, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. So you're looking for somebody to tell you how to do it, give you the roadmap. You know, who do I call and how do I call them and what do I say and where do I put it and what copy on my video, on my website, and, you know, what ad and what this. It's like, yeah, but how many conversations have you had in the last 3 weeks? If it's been not that many, you're probably not even taking action. Like, it's not that anyways, I can go down a whole rabbit hole there. But the bottom line with this guy is that I'm looking and I'm going, okay, let me ask some questions here, because you've got everything that you need to do it. And they're all telling him, just take action. Well, the just do it thing doesn't work for everybody. And so with this guy, I said, well, how'd you get the clients you got? Because we got to analyze what the actual issue is. If he described getting the clients like winning the lottery, then potentially that's a reason why he would be struggling. Because if somebody who wins the lottery loses all their money, they're probably 100 times more depressed than they were before they won the lottery. Because if they only know how to make 40 grand a year and they've been making that for 30 years and they win the lottery and then they lose all the money in 2 years because they didn't earn the money, they didn't do any activities to get the money besides buy a lottery ticket, and the chances of that are like winning the lottery, then they may think that's never going to happen for me again, because there's zero predictability of them having done anything and having any proof that they could do that again. Could they win the lottery again? Yeah, but it might be a lifetime and they may never win. They could still buy 100 times more tickets, right? So he described it in detail, ultimately telling me he knows how to get clients, because it wasn't like it was this stroke of luck and he didn't know how to do it again. Okay, and he had access to all the things. So now this is where the blind spot is, right? The thing that is sabotaging us. I said, well, what happens if I gave you 2 more clients identical to the 2 clients you already have in every way, shape, and form? Money, action, effort, energy, everything it takes to do with these people. How would that make you feel? And he goes on to complain and spend 10 minutes telling him how horrible these clients are and they're difficult and challenging to deal with. So I'm like, well, there's the problem. It's not that you don't know how to get clients. The reason you're not taking action, the reason you're procrastinating, the reason you're stuck is because currently you're in this situation where the clients you have cause you pain. And ultimately your brain is saying, if you take those actions, we're going to get more of this. And this sucks. This pain sucks. So go do everything else. Go screw around on your phone, watch 5,000 YouTube videos, whatever it is, but don't do that because that sucks. More of this is bad. So it's not, I don't know how to get clients. It's that the clients I know how to get cause me pain. And if I knew how to get clients with the actions I had that were cause me pleasure, I'd do more of it, right? The brain will do anything more that it, whether it's good or bad for your bank account's irrelevant. But if it feels good to the brain, it's going to do more of it, right? If it feels bad to the brain, subconsciously, if the sabotage is going, that sucks, that's bad, that's painful, women are bad, men are bad, this kind of business is bad, this kind of color person, this thing, all these things, it puts up these things that go and get subconsciously implanted, which then give you these biases and give you these things that sabotage you and then get you in this, invisible brick wall that you don't know why you're not acting, why you're not moving, why you're not making progress, why you're not doing these things. And I'm grateful because I've gotten to luckily experience a lot of success through taking a lot of action and get to contrast all parts of my life to go, when did I thrive? When did I survive? When did I procrastinate? When did I not? When did I take action? When did I not? When did I overthink? When did I not? And analyze the crap out of this. So now I can see this in others because I love helping people. If you're at all resonating with this video, I don't know what the call to action is in this exact moment in regards to what's on the landing page or anything else, but I do coaching with people. And that's my main thing, just coaching. And so whatever it is at the moment of this, because we're going to play around with different kind of calls to action, but I want to make the calls to action a little bit generic. But ultimately, send me a message on whatever platform you're listening to this on. And click the links on here, and it's going to have something that can get you in touch with me to be able to explore how I can potentially help you and help you get unstuck, help you identify the blind spots, help uncover the things that are those hidden blocks, those invisible brick walls that are keeping you from moving forward, making progress, taking action, making more money, having more fun, having more fulfillment, and having a life that you love that is filled with more good than quote unquote bad. To me, it's not about, failing. It's about learning. It's not losing, it's lessons. Right. And so I'm incredible at activating. And I'm so glad because I've been able to activate myself for a long time. Then I didn't activate myself. And now it's like, okay, I get it. I see it. And I know, and I can tell my brain and teach my brain and rewire my brain. And you can as well to identify these things and go, you know what? Taking action for me, like the MIA, it doesn't have to mean it ruins my life. It doesn't have to mean I'm miserable. It doesn't have to mean I'm overwhelmed and overworked. In the first 3 months of the year, I got back into MIA. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't overworked. I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't not enjoying my life. I was making money again, and I still had so many of the positives. So we can have both, right? We don't have to have one or the other. But if your brain is on autopilot, believing certain negative things without you questioning it, without you identifying it and being able to go, no, brain, it's okay. I can take MIA, and the things that were bad out of MIA, we can do those different. We don't have to do them the same. I don't have to get the same result. It doesn't have to be painful, but I can take the parts of MIA that were great, and I can do more of those to give me the flip side of the negative of the current MOA. So the overthinking actions, almost everything is fantastic. But in regards to me making progress professionally and making money, it wasn't any good. I'm great at making progress and making money through MIA. And so all the negatives, I can look at that and go, you can do those different. And you can get the best of both worlds. So now I don't have to pick, right, between rich and miserable and happy and broke, right? And you don't have to either, right? You don't have to either. You don't have to pick one or the other, because I guarantee you, your brain will be picking the least painful option. And for me, in my current life, what was the least painful was not taking action, because overall, there was so much good. And so for you right now, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? And do you really want to identify what those things are? Do you really want to make progress? Do you really want to get your mojo back? Do you really want to take action? And the reality is, some people, they're not ready yet. And the pain and suffering that they've experienced in the past, it's got a stranglehold on you. But if you really desire to get past that, and you really want to move forward and make progress and heal some of those hurts and be able to shine again and feel like it is liberating to be able to know I can have the best of both those worlds, because I love being able to move and take action and activate and do things that excite. It feels amazing for me. I've accomplished so many amazing things, including I just got my grandpa's book. This was something that for a lifetime, 70 years, I mean, yeah, somewhere around 70 years, he's 87 years old. Somewhere around 70 years, he's been writing. He gave up in his 50s trying to do it all professionally. He tried for that book for 5+ years with a agent to get it published. Other family members, whatever, nobody got it published. That's the bottom line. And in basically 2 days and within 1 week from his 87th birthday, we got it published. And it's on Amazon. It's got 5-star reviews. It got great feedback back in the day. It said it was the wrong time. And I did more in 2 days than anyone else had done for it and with it in a lifetime. And I love what MIA can do in our world, in our life, right? To be able to move mountains and do things for people's lives that they only dreamed of happening. And I've had so many incredible success stories in my life of people who have taken imperfect action. And in my past, I embodied it. In my present, I was talking about it from the past. And now I'm excited to be living it again in my present day. And already the results this year in the grand scheme of things have been, incredible. And so I'm excited to move forward. And if you want any help or support with that, don't hesitate to reach out. Click the links around this page, send me a DM. I don't bite. I don't push. I hate all the pushy stuff, the manipulative stuff. I'm not going to force feed you to do anything or pressure you or make you feel shame or guilt. My only goal is to help you feel safe, to help you feel secure, to help you heal, to help you move forward, make progress, and make magic happen in your life so you can have a life and a career that you love, doing things you love, and being able to navigate the inevitable challenges that will happen, but to navigate them in a way that is empowering rather than disempowering. My goal is to empower you, not disempower you. My goal is to encourage you, not discourage you. And if you've resonated with this, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to see more and more of me. And whenever you're ready, reach out. Whenever you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, reach out. I'm here to help. And keep rocking. Keep rolling. Have an absolutely incredible day. And I look forward to hearing from you. Take care. Bye-bye.